Okay, let's see. Now we're trying again a different area. I know yesterday the live was I heard a few people say it was really screechy, so I'm hoping that today's live is a lot better quality. So hopefully I'll definitely find out after. But today we're going to talk about purchasing land. I know a lot. That's like a new. I wouldn't say new thing, but it's a thing that I've been getting more. More. A lot of people asking. Because they can't find a home to buy. In big cities, and they're like, well, I'm just going to buy land and I'm just going to build on the land. Well, there's a lot more to that. It sounds like nice and easy, and I wish we lived in a freer country where you could just pick a land, do whatever you want with it. But it's not so. So, when you purchase a land, a huge part of it is first you have to know what type of land you're buying, but you have this huge thing called the due diligence. Um, Now, why would you need this due diligence period? One, if the parcel is expensive parcel, it's talking about the land, that the actual lot that you're buying. If it's really expensive, you definitely want to do your due diligence. If the price seems too good to be true, and trust me, there was this one land I was working with someone who it was 10 acres for $15,000, and we're like, this is a little bit too good to be true. And come to find out, it had sinkholes there, and there was no easement into the property, so it was almost impossible. You want to do your due diligence if you want to build land. If you want to build on the land, like if you want to build a house or a commercial, a gas station, or whatever you want to build on that. How you say you want to do your due diligence if how you say if you have a particular use for that land, like if you want it to be commercial, you want to make sure it's for commercial. I have a listing out in Lake Wells, which would be a perfect. I'm telling you, it would be a perfect spot for like a gas station because there's like no gas station near there. It's on a big highway, but it can't be zoned for commercial. It's just not it's not allowed for that. So you have to keep that in mind. Not another one is you want to definitely do your due diligence if you're not familiar with the area. So big thing is if you're buying land, make sure you do your due diligence. So how long does this usually take? So when you put in a contract for a residential house, it's usually we're talking about maybe 7 to 10 days. Max on the contract I've seen is like 15 days. But usually I've seen about 7 to 10 days. Well, with due diligence, we're talking about 3 to 4 weeks sometimes on a land loan, on a land contract, which makes sense. A lot of this stuff you could do ahead of time. I think the biggest part is just going to be the inspection part, and it's really when they depends on if there's like any environmental hazard on there. Getting those results back, it's going to take that long. But you could do a lot of it, sitting down in your home, and you could get a lot of stuff done within a few hours. So part of that, through title, you want to make sure when you're purchasing land, you get a clear title, clear deed, so that way, there's no other lease. Someone's not leasing the property, or it's a full clear loan, clear land for you. You want to make sure of you get a survey. See if there's a copy of a survey. If not, you're gonna have to pay, and I recommend paying. I wouldn't just buy land without getting a survey. You want to know your boundaries and what land you're buying, and then you want to make sure there's easement and access to the land. Like I was telling you earlier, there was a 10 acres that we had that I had someone wanted to buy, and I mean it was so good. I was like, maybe I could buy it with you. You get half and I get half because it was such a great deal. And it looked like when you looked at Google Maps, and it looked like there was so many entries, easements, ways in there. But actuality, there was no easement on there. And when you got to the place, there was, it looked like multiple sinkholes there. So it wasn't such a good thing. But the biggest problem for that is there was no easement, and you know what if he were to purchase the property, the way he could get easement would be to probably purchase an outside land that was give him grants access, or he would have to sue one of the owners to get access. So it's a big headache. And, it doesn't work out well. So and another thing you want to look at when you're purchasing land is look at your zone. You want to know the use of land. Like I was talking about earlier, is it commercial? Is it residential? Some people want to have cows. Are you in city? Are you in county? You can't really have cows, and if you're in city, if you're in the city. But if you want to have like some farm animals, you want to make sure it's zoned for agricultural. So you want to also make sure if you're in a flood zone. I've seen a lot of land that's at a good price, but it's inside of a flood zone. You want to make sure you're able to build, and this is a huge thing because I've seen some land like 1 acre of land going for $2,000. Um, One, there's no easement to it, so some people are thinking, well, I could just maybe camp out there. But there's some land that you can't build on. It's more for like hunting, or they call recreation. And some of it, you like they have a minimum of 5 acres to build home on, and that really hurts the value of the land if someone has the land there for sale. But if you're looking to purchase, you see a great deal, like, oh great, I want to build my home here. If you don't do your homework on that, well then you just threw away money and you have land that you can't do nothing with. It's just you have to just pretty much take care of it. Um, and going back to also the use of land for animals, if you want to have farm, you want to make sure it's zoned for like, zoned for that. And then when you're if you find land, you see it's for residential, you want to make sure you call the county and find out what are the building rules. What is needed? Call the county, find out what is needed so you can build on that. The next thing is land inspection. Now, not all the time this is needed, but depending if you're buying an old, gasoline station and it's converted to a home or it's converted into another business or something like that, you may want to do a potential environmental hazard like type of inspection. If you're looking to farm, you may want to do a soil test, or perhaps if you're building a home, you may have to do a soil test, because even some of the orange groves, they put so much chemicals into these groves where if you were to plant something else, that could be toxic chemicals going into your vegetables if it's a complete different thing that you're growing. There's some different things you may want to test the soil to see exactly what's there. Another thing is, see how much it's going to cost to cut the trees down. And that's going to be another part of the cost later, but you may have to see if there's something that's protected, or if you live in a city and you have a large tree there, that large tree may be protected, and you could actually get in big trouble for cutting down a very, very large tree depending on your area. And also, like I was talking about earlier, for sinkholes, if you're in an area that's prone to sinkholes, and you start to see like some places that look nice and you have these huge dips, you may want to you know do an inspection for the sinkholes. And mind you, an inspection for a sinkhole is not cheap. We're talking about like $6,000 to $10,000. But they do a really, they check everything for you, but it's a little bit pricey. And they have other options where it's like $1,000, and they could kind of pull a history for it. But if you want to like in depth, it could be about $6,000 to $10,000 for that inspection, which comes to the cost when you purchase land. If you have a flat land, let's say you don't have to cut trees. Well, you got to think about the electric. How far are you from the electric company? Is it going to be cheaper for you to put solar and a battery out in the country, or are you close enough to a power line where you could connect power to you? That I've known someone who wanted to purchase land 2 miles away from any electrical grid, and it was going to cost them almost $80,000 to get connected, which is insane. I've heard, somewhere they were just a mile away, and it was about $40,000 to $60,000 just to get connected. Think about septic. If there's a sewage nearby, if it's like on a place where it's already established and you could just connect to the sewage, that'd be a thing. But if it's not, a septic's going to range about like $10,000 to $15,000. So you're going to have to add that as well. Some area of land is going to have water. Some have it's city water, or it's connected, or county water. It's connected to the neighborhood. Like I know there in Lake Wells, there's a lot of neighborhoods that they have the infrastructure kind of built. You just got to build on the home, but they already have the sewer and water connection, or at least just a water connection. So you want to see how much it's going to cost to connect that, or if you have to put a well, you're talking about three to $10,000, depend on how deep you have to go. Because if you're near an orange grove, I'd shoot to go a lot deeper. But if you're in a place where you're up on a hill, you may have to go 300-400 feet down just to get some good quality water. And then back to talking about like clearing the land. If you're going to build there, you're going to find out how much it costs to clear the land. And here's another thing, not just you clear the land, you want to know with the county or city if there's a time limit from when you cut the land to when you have to build a home on, if there's going to be any issues with that. And then to top it off on the cost, you want to look at how much the impact fees are. Some places, some counties, some cities, they don't have impact fees. Other places have really expensive impact fees, up to like $15,000 to $20,000 just to put your name on a post, on a stamp. Other places that are like, super out in the country, they may not have any impact fees, and they just want you to come into their place to build because they need more people there. So it all depends on that. So, and how do you find out this information? Well, you want to find out if you're in a country or in a county or city. So you could definitely go on the website, give them a call, give them the address, and find out, hey, I'm looking at this place. Is this considered county or city? And they could definitely point you to that direction. Or if you're working with a buyer's agent, if you're working with a buyer, a realtor like myself, we could provide a lot of information like this. But this is your land. I still recommend you doing all your homework for this. As a realtor, we could get all this information stuff for you too, but you're not going to know and understand exactly your needs and what you want without you doing this first. This is Florida. This is a little bit different than buying residential. This is land. This is a huge thing of the caveat emptor, like to let the buyer beware. You're responsible for this due diligence. This is on the responsibility is really on the buyer for this. Also, the title company. See if you can find out the information from the title company, if it was a recent sale or in the past. So see if there's any information you could get from them. Any third-party companies, like maybe you could call utilities and find out if there's any information on that. I have one. There's a land I have for sale. A utility company actually did an easement thing, and they put they put power there. So they actually had a lot of information that the city and county didn't have. You definitely want to reach out to as much information, and much of these outsources to get the information. So once you have that, what do you need to give them? Well, one, of course, is the address. If it's if it's commercial, or if it's a land that had a previous home, it's going to have an address. But if it doesn't have an address, you're going to look on the county website and look for, it's called the parcel ID or the tax ID. And it's going to be a long, probably like 16-digit number. It's going to be a long number, and that's going to be like the information for that land. It'll definitely help you. Also, when you're calling these people, let them know if it's county or city, And also, speak with the HOA. Depending, there's some lands for sale. I know, like you have Indian States, and there's quite a few places around here that in Lake Wells and outside of Lake Wells, really, that have land for sale, but it's inside of a neighborhood. So you could call that HOA, and they could, a lot of the times they have all of this information for you, and it kind of cuts your time in half. And you could just give them a call saying, "Hey, this is the lot I want. Can you give me the stuff?" And 9 times out of 10, that HOA will have all the information you need, or at least to point you into the right direction. So this is, like, I would say there's a lot of information to go into purchasing a land, but I really hope that I don't scare you away. But it's just so you can have extra knowledge. So when you're buying land, there's more homework to do. It's not to scare you away, but it's just to have you have the strong. You're going in there with some power and some knowledge, and you have more confidence knowing all the things you have to do, instead of buying land and you're like, all right, I'll just buy land, and then when you buy it, you close, you didn't do your homework, then you're like, well, I can't build here, I can't do anything, and that's going to be a horrible mistake. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share this with somebody who could really benefit from this information, especially if they're looking to buy land. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.